This is Tennessee Talks with United States Congressman Tim Burchett.
Hey everybody, I'm Congressman Tim Burchett, and welcome back to another episode of Tennessee Talks. This is probably one of the shortest ones in our history, but it's that time of year where you got to get cracking. The next time we record a podcast, I'll probably be back in Washington, D.C. Election will be over, and the American folks have been through horrible times, in my opinion, for the last 4 years. Inflation's through the roof. You've got people that are spending at least $600 more a month just to stay afloat. Groceries, things like that. Crime, of course, is through the roof. And you'll hear folks say, well, crime's not that bad. And it's just the way they figure the statistics, and actually crime is a lot worse. The border, nightmare. We've had, 14 million folks come over the border in the last 4 years, unaccounted for mostly. You've got communist Chinese, 100,000 of those. 300,000 children, we don't know where they are, and that to me is horrific. That is the real crime in all of this. And you've got the cartels doing what they do, selling children and kids and everything else, if not into sex trafficking. They're basically slave labor. We've watched our government get weaponized against the people, and we've seen disasters with these wars all around the globe. And unfortunately, the vast majority of them could be prevented. People across the country, as I stated earlier, can't afford their groceries, gasoline, and it's just horrendous. I hear about it all the time from the constituents. When I'm at the gas pumps especially, people come up and talk to me about it. I'm in the store and I watch people go through the line and they just can't afford the necessities, and that's not right. And it's due to reckless spending in Washington. We're jacking up our inflation, and we're just borrowing from our great-grandchildren. We got to turn the country back around. We got to give power back to y'all. We got to clean out these agencies, these three-letter agencies that are just wreaking havoc upon America. It's not the America we grew up in, and it's not the America I want to leave to my daughter. We've got to secure our border. There's no question. That many people coming over our border that some of them, the vast majority of them, are good, hardworking folks. They want to come here for a better life, but you mix in a few criminals and rapists and things like that, drug smugglers, you name it. It's a bad situation. We've got to get our energy independence back. We've got to drill. We've got it in the ground here. The previous administration basically had shut Iran down, and they were basically bankrupt. Now they're exporting terrorism through their oil profits, and that's directly related to what we've done. And now we're telling Israel how they can and cannot conduct their war against them, and to me that's a big mistake. We've got to vote, folks. We got to change the course of the House and the Senate and the White House with folks that'll put America first again. That way there'll be no legislative gridlock. We pass a lot of good things in the House that Chuck Schumer and some of his colleagues will not take up in the Senate. We deserve a secure border. You deserve safe communities. You got to be able to feed your family and keep the lights on without having to work multiple jobs. That's just wrong. You need to be able to spend time with your family. People ought to be able to send their kids to schools without fear of indoctrination. And there's so many issues that are affecting Americans every dadgum day. That's why this election is the most important of our lifetime. Not just for us, but for the security and stability of the rest of the world. It'll hinge on this election. I firmly believe that. I believe the next time I put out this podcast, the U.S. will be a very, very different place. We'll be in a different situation. Until then, I ask folks, please, and people all the time say, we're praying for you, Tim. I say, well, pray for my family and pray for our dadgum country. Please do that. I can always remember my dad praying one night after an election was not going well. And and he said the blessing, and he said, Lord, please do not let us lose our country. And that's my prayer for this country right now. We cannot let this slip by, folks. We got to keep pushing. We've got to. I'm quit calling it a swamp. It is a man-made sewer, and it is an awful, awful situation in Washington. But always, I want to thank y'all so much for this opportunity you've given me, and thank you for listening to another episode of Tennessee Talks. I'm Congressman Tim Burchett, and thank y'all for sending me here.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Tennessee Talks. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Keep up with Congressman Burchett by following Rep. Tim Burchett on Twitter and Instagram, and Congressman Tim Burchett on Facebook and YouTube.